In the next few minutes, I'm going to be breaking down the best technologies for building a mobile app in 2025 so that you can choose the right tech stack for your app. I've helped founders build scalable, high-performing apps, and I've seen firsthand what works and what doesn't. So by the end of this video, you know exactly which tools and frameworks that will set your app up for success. And I'll even share with you a critical mistake founders make when selecting their tech stack. Let's get into it. Now let's go back around about 10 years ago, back in 2015, back when I was in university studying my engineering degree at RMIT University, and I was firstly starting to get into mobile app development in around about 2015. So back in 2015, there wasn't really much talk about cross-platform solutions back then because it was still in the very, very early stages of it about to be released back then. So when I was starting to learn about mobile app development, there was no talk from the lecturers or professors about cross-platform development. So what we used to do back then in around about 2015, and as well as apps being released, especially the popular apps like Uber and Airbnb, is that what they would do is that they would have teams dedicated on the Android and iOS part of the apps. So there would be a team dedicated to developing the Uber app using Android Java to deploy it on the Google Play Store on the Android platform, and then there will be a dedicated team on the iOS part developing the Uber app using Objective-C at the time, back in around about 2015. So this is how things were back then, around about 10 years ago, because cross-platform solutions, they were just about to be released, and it wasn't the talk of the town back then. So developing a mobile app around about 10 years ago was a lot more expensive than ever before, because we had to pay for the staff for two separate teams in order to deploy the same app on Android and iOS at the same time. So as technology evolved over time, there were two major players which came into the cross-platform development space, which were React Native from Facebook and Flutter from Google. So React Native was first released in 2015, and Flutter was released in 2017 by Google. And over time, those platforms both grew into the major competitors of the cross-platform solutions. And now there are many debates out online by developers talking about which is better, React Native or Flutter. Both have their pros and cons, and I've discussed about the differences between the two in another video which I have on my channel. You can check it out over here. I'll put the thumbnail of that video over here. But in my career, in the early days of my career, between the years of 2017 to the year of 2020, I was solely focused on native app development because I was primarily working on the Android platform back then, developing native apps on the Android platform, which was better suited for our embedded devices that we were working with at the time. But as time passed, as I gained more exposure to cross-platform app development, particularly with the company that I worked with in regard to smart lighting, I could see the many advantages by using cross-platform solutions such as React Native and Flutter to develop apps that could also support embedded devices as well, but also be able to ship apps faster and deploy new features and guidelines into apps faster by only using one code base, which was the amazing advantages of using cross-platform solutions such as Flutter. When you're in the starting stages of starting to design and build your app, it is critical that you make the right choice of which platform you're going to build your app with. Are you going to build your app with a cross-platform solution like React Native or Flutter, or are you solely going to focus on a native solution only? By meaning you're only going to develop your app on one platform, say Android only. This is a critical decision that you need to make correctly, because if you make the wrong decision, it can end up costing you tens of thousands of dollars along the journey. And this is something that I don't want you guys to have. So it is critical that you work with an expert who actually has the experience building apps from the ground up in order to guide you with the best platform in order to bring your app to life. So because with cross-platform solutions and a native solution only, they both have their advantages and disadvantages. So one advantage that I can give you with cross-platform solutions is that with cross-platform solutions, you can easily deploy your app on both Android and iOS within that one code base. But a disadvantage with a cross-platform solution, which ties in with a native solution, is that With the cross-platform solution, sometimes you don't get the full performance benefits and features by using a cross-platform solution. So let's say, for example, that you need to develop a camera app by using the Android phone's camera capabilities. Maybe a cross-platform solution wouldn't be the best option because you need to fully integrate and take advantage of the Android camera capabilities. So in that case, a native app dedicated on the Android platform would be better suited for that app rather than a cross-platform solution. Another disadvantage with native app development is that you have to spend a lot more money on managing the code base and people as well, because you have to spend a lot more money managing people, solely focusing on an Android platform only, and then more money on hiring people on managing the iOS part of the code base as well, which is two separate code bases that you have to manage at the same time, which brings in a lot more complexities and management requirements at the same time. So if you're a startup founder with a limited budget, I highly suggest that you guys use a cross-platform solution like React Native or Flutter in order to develop your app and MVP so you can get it out into the market without sacrificing quality, and also get your MVP built under your budget. Now, before we jump into the next part of today's video, if you want my help in choosing the right framework for your app and building a high-performing mobile app for your business, click on the link below to book in a free call with me, and let's see whether we're the right fit and map out the best approach for your app success. So let's talk about the backend and infrastructure which is quite required for mobile apps in 2025 and beyond today. So once your app is built, you're going to need a backend to store the user data and handle the authentication, and also manage things like push notifications. Firebase is an excellent choice for this, as it's an all-in-one solution which handles the databases, the authentication, and even the hosting as well, which is really amazing. Using Firebase can significantly cut the cost down because you're not going to need to hire a separate backend team. It's especially great for real-time features like chat notifications or live updates as well, which also has those advantages as well. And also another solution that I can recommend as well is AWS Amplify. So if your app requires more robust backend services or you're expected to grow rapidly, AWS Amplify can offer more tools and scalability, as it's perfect for apps that need secure data storage or more advanced backend features. With the recent breakthroughs of AI and machine learning in 2025, artificial intelligence and machine learning is more accessible than ever before to non-technical founders. With tools such as Google's Machine Learning Kit, you can add AI-driven features like image recognition, text analysis, or even predictive analysis without needing a deep AI expertise. Let's say, for example, you're building a fitness app. You can actually use machine learning to analyze the user behavior and suggest personalized workout plans, or even predict future trends based on the user's activity, which is really amazing just by using Google's Machine Learning Kit. And also, let's talk about the IoT and wearable space. If your app needs to integrate with hardware like wearables or smart home devices, technologies such as using Bluetooth Low Energy and Wi-Fi can allow for seamless communication between your app and external devices. The good news is that Flutter and both React Native support hardware integration, making them both ideal for building apps that connect with fitness trackers, smartwatches, or even home automation systems. But I think Flutter is the clear winner here when it comes to embedded hardware integration with apps. There are so many choices in regards to tech stacks, frameworks, and languages out there now in the mobile app development space in 2025. It's very easy to get overwhelmed and confused about which platform is going to be the best for your mobile app. Which cross-platform solution am I going to use? Am I going to use React Native? Am I going to use Flutter? Am I only going to develop my app on one platform, only on iOS or Android? Am I only going to use Android, Java, or Kotlin on the Android platform only? Or am I only going to use iOS by only using iOS Swift or Objective-C on the iOS platform? Or will my app involve Bluetooth connectivity or Wi-Fi? Or will my app be able to use machine learning and AI integration in my app? There are so many questions out there, and it's really important, as I said earlier, to work with an expert who actually has the experience and the expertise to help you make the critical and right decisions in order to choose the right technology stack and frameworks and languages in order to bring your app to life. Now, if you apply everything you've learned in today's video, you'll make the right choices in regards to choosing the right tech stack for your app, saving you time, money, and frustration. Now, right now you guys have two choices. You can take this knowledge and figure out things on your own, or you can fast track your app development by working with an expert. If you want a high-performing, scalable app built the right way on the first go, click on the link in the description and let's work together on bringing your app idea to life.